Is up? It is Bailey here with What the Puck Podcast. So today I want to talk about how I became a Hillie. I live in Haverhill, Massachusetts, but I grew up in Melrose, Massachusetts, and I know I came off a little strong in one of my podcasts talking about Melrose in my time with Melrose Youth Hockey, but I'll just state for the record that I did listen to it, and it does come off harsh, but uh, there was some tough times growing up, playing hockey, and being around that era of the Oxycontin. Now, I'll say for the record, and I said it before, I'm not a drug addict. I never used oxys, but I knew plenty of people that did, and it was people that had money and people that were good hockey players, and it's really sad in 2025 right now that a lot of people I knew passed away, and I actually ended up playing with a group of Melrose hockey coaches, and it kind of opened up my eyes, and it was really sad kind of being back at the Flynn rink and looking up and seeing some names going, oh my God, I forgot how good he was. Oh my God, yeah, he's in and out of rehab. Oh my God, he's a good dude. He passed away, and drug related, and it's just really sad. So it's kind of hard to talk about it, but at the same time, you still had that little not. I hate to use the word hate, but you have that anger. You're like the Darth Vader. You have that dark side where you hate it, but you still kind of miss being around the Melrose Youth Hockey. So I ended up playing end of the year with a group, and it was kind of low numbers. One time I only played twice because with holiday season and everything, not rush, but I played twice, and the first game was pretty good. It was my first game back from being hurt with my knee. And, I came out and, it was pretty fun. It's kind of fast, You had one guy that was just dancing around everybody, but for the most part, it was good. And I thought that game was a great video. So the second skate I played in, it was full capacity, full numbers, full benches. It was actually a really good skate, fast. But I mean, after a while, I was, if you watch the video, you could tell I was taking a couple headshots and my dangler broke. But, it was fun, and I was just so happy to be back on the ice at the Flynn rink with a bunch of Melrose guys, even though I didn't know any of these guys when I was playing. But there was one thing I noticed, and that was the numbers were small. I know it was youth hockey, and I know they're younger kids. I really don't know the age. They had to be, I want to say the first group I saw, because I got to work it early. The first group I saw had to be probably 8, 9, 10-year-olds. It just, the numbers weren't there. And then it went on to 11, 12, and I think it probably went up to teenagers. And I couldn't believe the numbers. I think they only had one goalie, and it was nothing like how I used to play youth in Melrose, and it was just crazy. And I just got to think Melrose is a pretty wealthy town. I mean, the average income is well over 100,000. And especially in this world, that's a lot. And, houses are 700,000 and up. So I looked at that and I was like, wow, maybe just people aren't into hockey. They can't afford it. But at the same time, I'm like, you have these teams where it's the select teams, the Americans, the Valley Warriors, the Islanders. You have these teams. And I believe you have to be selected. You have to try out and get selected. With youth, it was just try out and you're on a team A, B, or C. So, I was really pleasantly surprised to see that. I was like, wow. So, I don't take back anything I said in my podcast about Melrose Youth Hockey, but, you kind of go, wow. So, that kind of brings me to the next point. I moved to Haverhill, which, Melrose is about 20 minutes north of, 20, 21, 23, less than half an hour north of Boston. So I always lived north of Boston. I mean, it was the Ripley School. We used to climb up on the rocks, and you can see the skyline of Boston growing up in the 90s. So I moved to Haverhill, which is about 45 minutes away from Boston, about 15 minutes away from the New Hampshire border. My father grew up in Lowell, and, I'm not really too familiar with this area, but I definitely got quick to, know where everything is, and, the Methuen Loop and the Lawrence rink, the two Haverhill rinks on Ward Hill in the high school. And I quickly really fell in love with the city of Haverhill, especially when I got my house right before COVID. We got a great deal on the house, our first house. We're so happy, you know. A big yard, could put a backyard rink in the back, which I plan on doing it when my daughter gets a little bit older. But just an absolute, just great house, and we put a lot of money into it, and I'm just so happy. And I really do embrace Haverhill, and I love Haverhill, and we're in the subdivision called Bradford. So it goes like Georgetown, Groveland, and then it goes what they call Bradford, but it's Haverhill. It's kind of like the nicer part of Haverhill, if you want to call it that. But it's called Haverhill, and people think it's Havel. No, it's Haverhill. So yeah, they're called the Hillies. That's their team. Haverhill Hillies, and yeah, I I definitely align myself with the Hillies. So I live in the same neighborhood. Well, so there's a cemetery. Oh, there's a cemetery. I live in the main street, and then there's some houses, and there's a cemetery, and then on the other side of that, that's where Rob Zombie grew up, and his brother Spider One, and they lived on Pond Street. And I've gone by the house, and there's nothing to do with Rob Zombie over there. So, but people once in a while will stop me and be like, "Oh, where does Rob Zombie live?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he lives on Pond Street." Where is that? It's like, oh, you got to go down this street, this street. It's kind of like you go down the street, and then you go halfway down the street, and then you got to turn the street. It's if anybody really wants to know anything good about, first of all, I am not like the biggest Rob Zombie fan. I actually like Power Man 5000, his brother's band. I actually was a big fan of them back in high school. Rob Zombie has got some good hits. I mean, love the guy, but I prefer, his brother, Spider One and Power Man 5000. I think they're a great band. But Rob Zombie, first of all, Rob Zombie, big hockey guy, by the way. Huge hockey guy. Loved hockey. Season ticket holder to the LA Kings. Go listen to the Joe Rogan podcast with Rob Zombie. Amazing. You learn so much about the guy, and he's just so laid back and cool. But he definitely has that look of a Haverhill. Like Rob Zombie even said in the podcast, I'll give you a little spoiler, that he grew up and his parents were carnies. And that's basically what like Haverhill people are. They're not white trash, but they're not like hillbilly. They're just like that carny people. They're not like dirty. They're not like, they're just like a little greasy around the edges. But a lot of people, you could tell, like, okay, you live and breathe Haverhill. Like, I'm a transplant. I can't claim Haverhill, but I can and I can't. But I identify as, especially in this world, I identify as a Hillie. So I am a Hillie. So that being said, I love the city. I was playing with the group, and I've talked about it before in my podcast, how kind of had a falling out with them. And then after my daughter I was playing 3 times a week. I had a falling out with them. And I was playing 7 a.m. Andover, 2 p.m. in Haverhill. Then I was playing 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock in Everett. So, and working full time. So then, I had a falling out with them. Then once my daughter was born, they needed a goalie. And, I just basically water under the bridge. Shook hands, played for a while, and unfortunately, life happens. And I've talked about this before, but I pretty much was like, hey, I want to play, I can play, but I have to watch my daughter, and family comes first, all that bullshit. So that's when I kind of step aside. I do miss playing in that skate. I don't know if any of them watched the channel. I knew I was GoProing. But if anybody's watching from the Haverhill skate, I definitely miss that skate. That was probably, if not my favorite skate. And I look forward to it every Sunday at 5 o'clock at Haverhill High. And I definitely miss it. And there was a good group of guys. And it was pretty low-key. There was no fucking barely heroes. There was no assholes. There was no fights. I was kind of the younger one there. But so what? It was fun. And I miss that skate a lot. So with that being said, I am a jersey collector. I love all things hockey. I showed you my goalie room in a previous video. And usually when I go to this thrift shop called Savers. It's just they sell everything. donate, whatever. It's like a Salvation Army, but a little bit cleaner. So anytime I'm there, if I see something obscure of hockey reference, especially goalie, I go for it. So I was there with my daughter and my little brother, and I saw a Haverhill youth hockey jersey, and I was like, I gotta have it. I have to have it. I have to have it in my goalie room. I'm all about Haverhill. So I snatched that up. And while I was there, I snatched up the Pentucket hockey jersey. So let me explain. So I posted the Haverhill jersey to a Facebook group for Haverhill people. And I said, does anybody know anything about this jersey? Can you give me some inside history or whatever? I'm not from Haverhill, but I love Haverhill, all this bullshit, right? So that's when the somebody had texted me, not texted me, had posted a picture of their son, and he's like, oh yeah, that's, I got number 25 on a jersey, and it looks like the old Penguins jersey from the 90s. And I thought it was funny because I was 25, like Kevin Stevens. So I was like, oh, that's funny. Local guy. Glad he's doing better now. Word up to Kevin Stevens. So, yeah, ex-Bruin. Yep. Ex-King. I think two-time Stanley Cup champion, I believe. So anyways, I'm getting away from the point here. I posted on Facebook, and a couple people replied back to me, and then someone was like, yeah, they don't have Haverhill Youth Hockey anymore. So they merged with another city, and now they call themselves Pentucket Thunder, which is, I don't know, I think it's more like, it sounds like a select league, but I think it's more of a youth league. And I see the signs all around town saying, learn to play hockey and, sign up and play. And I know they're looking for coaches all the time, and I wish I could coach. That's one passion I wish I can do. I wish I can coach, but my schedule will not allow it, so that sucks. But I ended up grabbing that jersey. The name on the back of it was Judge, and it was number 8. So I was like, okay, that's so cool. And I want to get it framed, just put up in my goalie room. I'm just running out of space right now. So the more I talked to people, they were like, yeah, Haverhill Youth Hockey kind of, over the years fell apart, and there was not much interest. And even growing up playing, we never played Haverhill. Drake, Methuen. I don't even remember Lawrence or Haverhill or Lowell, really, playing hockey with them. Which all those cities have ranks, too. I don't know what... does Drake have a rank? I know Methuen has a rank. Lawrence has a rank. Lowell has a rank. Haverhill has a rank. But anyways, it was one of those things where it just, kind of, you're like, oh, okay. Interesting. So now I'm like thinking, is that what is going on with Melrose? Just not enough people? Or are the good players kind of being cherry picked out of the youth and going into, select leagues, these more like, competitive leagues. So it was interesting. But, that was one thing that I kind of could see because growing up, it was always Melrose Youth Hockey. And then to hear like, oh yeah, Haverhill doesn't have youth hockey. It's, merged with other town. So you're like, huh, interesting. Because you always had the Charlestown, you had the Malden, you had the Medford, you had Stoneham, Saugus, which Saugus was like the best. So I kind of put the two together, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And I'm like I said this before, I'm very lucky to play. And it was funny because one of the guys who runs the skate, he found me on YouTube, and he's like, wow, you're an OG Melrose goalie. And I'm like, geez, that's probably the best compliment I've ever got playing Melrose Youth Hockey. I really did appreciate that. I was like, wow, you get like butterflies. Like, geez. But, I just try to have fun and, play the game. I'm still trying to find a place to play. I really want to stay local. I really don't want to travel too far, especially at night with a kid. It's just, you're at that point in your life where you're like, fuck, like, I'd rather fucking just stay home, sleep, spend time with my kid, go to work. It's like, I love hockey, but you kind of got to put it in the back burner a little bit. So, I mean, I definitely would play local. Like, I would love to get back to playing in Haverhill, For so many, there's two rinks in Haverhill. There's the Ward Hill rink and there's the high school. And the high school I know gets busy with the high school, and I think Pentucket plays there as well. They get so busy, and I'm like, there's got to be a pickup outside of the weekends because that's when I watch my daughter. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? I can't find anything. There's a skate with the guys on Sunday that are on Monday, and they're in Merrimack College, which is a fucking phenomenal rink. That's in Andover, North Andover, I believe. And I've been trying to get in with them, and it's just, I give my name, my info, and nobody gets back to me. And sometimes they put out like requests to, we're looking for a goalie, and they never get back to me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know if they know who I am, but also too, I think it's more of like they call themselves the pub crawlers. I think it's more like almost like the Stone Cutters, like in The Simpsons. It's kind of like a secret society of hockey. So, and it's Mondays at like 10 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm 15 to 18 minutes away drive. Like, I can do that. That's awesome. Like, right next door. So, I mean, I was all ready to play, but they haven't gone back to me. So, as of right now, currently, I'm not playing anywhere. I've had a few bites with people, but I just don't want to. I just don't want to travel too far. I'm thinking Bill Ricka, Haverhill, Methuen, Drake. If Drake, I don't know if Drake has a rink. Lawrence. I'd go as far as Wilmington, Tewksbury. So all I can say really is, I love playing hockey. I really hope something opens up where I can play during the week in Haverhill, where my match lines up with my schedule, matches with everything, and I'm looking forward to playing in Haverhill again. I love the city. I love the rink. Hopefully this podcast wasn't too boring for some people. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for watching. Cheers.